Well, today I am planting out the Cerinthe. I'm not sure I have ever waited as long as this to plant it out before. But never mind, it's looking glorious in its pot, so it's going to make a big transformation to the bed straight away. I've given it a water before I plant it because the ground is very dry, and then I'll give it another water to settle it in later on. First, feed the bed. Wow, look at that, absolutely beautiful, glowing. I know I've shown you this before, but this is my cup that's all marked up. We tend to buy it by the sack because it is so much cheaper. But what I've done in the past, I have had to buy the buckets, or they've been on special offer. But what I do is I just keep them and reuse them. So this one's coming to the end and I'll top it up from the bag, which is a lot more manageable. I did have a set of kitchen scales in the shed, but these are soup containers. I use them for everything. So what I've done is I've actually weighed and then written on the side of the container the weights for the different sizes of beds. So then I don't need the scales. I can just literally fill the container up and I am good to go. First thing I've got to do is weed the bed. This one is not too bad at all. Neil is tackling the harder beds over there. It is such a beautiful day, isn't it? Look at those. What we call the executive bench, where we have our cups of tea. The autumn jump starter agrostemma. Now don't worry about these tips bending over, they do that, and it looks like they need pinching it off. Don't do that. I did do a test and it really did spoil the look of the plant. It flowered much shorter, so leave them as they are. This bending is completely normal. With the sweet rocket, I will get these planted next. I think the agrostemma and the Cerinthe are the most urgent just at the moment. They're looking glorious, aren't they? There we go, all set up and ready to go. There we go, I've done this half and not the other half, so you can see the difference. Our soil is really good because we've looked after it all these years. Look at that, it's going to be so easy for the roots to get themselves out into this beautiful soil. Don't despair if yours is not as good as mine. It's just been years of chipping away at it slowly.
Made the bed, I bordered it, and then I took off 2 inches of turf, and I put them in the compost bin so it was recycled. Then we added our homemade compost, double dug it, and added the compost.
Just at the beginning, didn't we?
Yeah, just at the beginning, and we've grown in this bed now for 3 years. I left it exposed over the winter. So this was asters, I think, last year. We took them all out in November. Left the soil exposed all winter, and the frost and the rain, I mean, it's just perfect.
It's because what happens is the frost freezes the water that's in the soil, expands it.
The worms are literally an inch from the surface.
It's beautiful.
It's full of worms, and it's just
so easy to weed.
And then if I wanted to plant up, look, there's your hole. You don't even need a spray.
No trowel required.
No, not at all.
All done, so just scatter the fertiliser. Always wear gloves. It does look a bit like the Himalayas. I shall have to tidy up and flatten it before Neil sees it, or otherwise I will be in trouble. Planting them about 22 centimetres apart, and actually quite deep, to give them a good anchoring in, and then they won't get blown around by the wind. Oh, it's facing the wrong way. Let's turn you around. Face front. There we go. And then just fill the soil in all around. Flatten the soil out so I don't get in trouble. All of the feed that I put on the soil is being dug in just by the process of planting. There, I thought you might like to see how I'm getting on. They'll probably stall for a bit once planted because they'll go, oh goodness, look at all this extra space I've got, and put their roots out.
I'm getting seasick seeing the humps.
There's no humps, it looks fine.
I can see, look, yeah.
What? Come and do it yourself then. I think it looks fabulous. Final job of the day is just to water the plants in. I'm using a watering can for a couple of reasons. Number one, the root balls are quite small, so the irrigation might not get to them properly until they've had a chance to put their roots out. Number two, I'm able to add a little bit of seaweed tonic because the slow release fertiliser won't be available to the plants just yet. And number three, I've only planted up half the bed, so I don't want to be wasting any water. So watering can for the first watering, just to get them settled in and off to the best start. For more information on planting and soil science, just visit my website where you'll find this page is dedicated to all things soil.